CHC was established in 2014 with the mandate to take on the role as the commercial arm of the Republic of Cyprus, responsible for marketing and sales of the share of hydrocarbons that belongs to the Republic of Cyprus. In order to undertake this role, clearly the company requires to have expertise in the whole range of industry activities, starting from geological assessment and prospectivity, infrastructure development and monetization options, knowledge of the market, and marketing and sales. And in the last 4 years, we've been, we believe, very successful in attracting high caliber of people with both academic qualifications, but also strong industry international experience, which is essential in establishing a company like this, but also to establish a company that will provide a role model for Cyprus to be able to work at very high international level in terms of professionalism, ethos, and really bringing together the right people in the right environment so that we can achieve what we all have as our vision for the future. It enables CHC to provide invaluable support for all activities undertaken by the Republic, always in close collaboration with the Ministry. This includes, for instance, prospectivity analysis that took place after the Zohr discovery that contributed to the assessment of the geological potential in Cyprus and assisted the government in taking the decision to go for a third licensing round. The kind of activities that we have been working recently include, of course, the negotiations for marketing the Aphrodite field, which we are doing in collaboration with the partners in Block 12. And the objective of these negotiations is to potentially have sales agreements with the LNG plants in Egypt. These negotiations are at quite an advanced stage, and the aim is to be able to reach a successful conclusion with some initial agreement in the near future. Following the Zohr discovery in Egypt, it was possible to demonstrate a new geological play in the region, which has created much increased interest from international operators who were able to recognize the potential for significant new discoveries. Also here within CHC, we've been able to assess the geological potential in the Cyprus EZ based on the new discoveries and demonstrate what potential exists for possible similar discoveries in our EZ. This, of course, led also to the third licensing round. And the significant outcome of the third licensing round was that it attracted additional key players, super majors like the ExxonMobil and Qatar Petroleum. And of course, having the caliber of this type of companies within our EZ, who have both the technical, the economic, and the political strength to perform the exploration, but also move on to effective monetization, is something that provides significant value to our activities here and the prospect for a positive outcome. The prospects of significant energy hydrocarbon discoveries here in Cyprus, of course, has significant direct and indirect benefits for the economy of the country. Of course, you have the direct benefits from the revenues resulting from specific discoveries and the monetization and marketing and sales. But in addition to that, there is a lot of added value that potentially can be created for the country through the right approach and being proactive in terms of exploiting also the international interests that we see and the focus in Cyprus as a center of a region that is emerging as a potential energy producing region that can also be a catalyst for supporting Europe potentially in terms of their objective for diversification and energy security. So we see a lot of potential in terms of potential regional collaboration, with Cyprus being at the center of facilitating this kind of collaborations, whether this is in terms of joint infrastructure developments, whether it's in terms of being a transit or a gateway to the European markets, but also there is additional potential for Cyprus facilitating collaboration in terms of joint activities in knowledge development, capability development, in education and training, research, innovation and technology development. We believe that this is a strength that we need to invest in, as it can provide an important pillar of economic development which can be sustainable, as it will be based on the human capital potential that we are able to offer and strengthen this activity. In terms of developing effectively the oil and gas industry, which is the base for this both direct and indirect benefits for the country and the region, it's important to be able to develop and establish and maintain a stable and effective regulatory and business environment that will support the industry, that will create a level of confidence, that will attract additional players, both operators, service companies, other specialists who want to invest and work in Cyprus, not only to support the activities in the Cyprus EZ, but also to use Cyprus as a base for providing services for the region and further afield. So it's extremely important to create a supportive and effective environment and a stable environment. Of course, other activities are also required to be able to create this added value in terms of bringing the countries together and facilitating collaboration, whether this is at the political diplomatic level or it's a more technocratic level. For example, bringing countries together in the region who have a common problem area that they need to collaborate, like safety and environmental protection on offshore oil and gas operations, bringing the countries together in terms of sharing resources, being proactive, having joint action plans for events unwanted events that may occur. And of course, to facilitate knowledge development, research and innovation, we need to invest as a country in establishing an energy center that will act as a hub and as a center to attract these kind of activities. I believe we need to be outward looking in establishing these kind of processes and partnering with industry, academia, government, but also with other international centers of excellence to be able to really bring this activity at the high level that will provide us the added benefits that we want for the country. Being one of the first players here in the development of this emerging oil and gas industry, not only in Cyprus but also in the region, always provides an advantage, as you have added opportunities to influence decisions in a way that will be beneficial, of course, for the industry, but also for the countries. Being based in Cyprus, it can provide access to the region in terms of establishing a base here and being able to support the region effectively, so that provides added commercial benefits. I believe that Cyprus overall has an attractive environment, not just for living in, but also in terms of business, legal and regulatory framework. It provides a fairly stable and supportive environment. Of course, there is more we need to do as a country to mature and be able to provide more effective support for the industry and be able to attract more investment, whether it's in terms of operators or other related activities in the area. I would say that the presence of major players from the industry, including Exxon, Eni, Total and so on, shows the level of confidence in terms of the potential and the prospectivity for hydrocarbons in the region. The other strong element is the fact that the companies have been moving forward in a consistent way in terms of their energy and drilling program. There is good prospect for discoveries based on the findings of recent drillings in Egypt, but also in Cyprus, which have confirmed the presence of carbonate play in the Cyprus EZ. The first thing I would say is, in terms of gas monetization and sales, we always take a longer term view. So a change, whether it's a downturn or upturn, for a few years, it's not so critical. Of course, the upturn in the industry is very positive and welcome, and it's positive all around because it does help the industry to move along, and it has a positive effect here in Cyprus also. This is coupled also with the fact that the industry in the last few years has adjusted in terms of cost and pricing of operations by bringing down the cost. So this, in combination with the upturn on the oil prices, creates more potential for developments. And of course, this will have an impact here in Cyprus and the region. Now, CHC has been examining all the various monetization options in order to be in a position to support the Republic of Cyprus in the most effective way, depending on the different scenarios and outcomes from the discoveries. Of course, the Egypt monetization option in terms of exporting to Egypt is a good option in many ways, in terms of being able to exploit existing infrastructure in the LNG plants in Egypt and potentially liquefy the natural gas from Cyprus to find its way to Europe. This is also politically a good option, as it brings the countries together in terms of collaboration. And the two countries have been working in establishing intergovernmental agreements that will facilitate and support the companies that are negotiating these potential sales. Of course, another potential option is the East Med pipeline, which again creates opportunities for collaboration between the countries in the region. We have Israel, Cyprus, Greece, Italy already collaborating on this project, and EU supporting in a number of ways. Of course, there are many different parameters that need to be taken into consideration before a decision is taken to go for the specific options, and there are various techno-economic aspects that are being investigated. But it's good to have more than one option, and it's important to do the groundwork to be able to mature these options, and when the right time comes, and if you have, for instance, the right amount of discoveries and the collaboration between the countries, this could also become viable. Another option that the Republic of Cyprus is always considering in our strategy is the creation of an onshore LNG plant here in Cyprus at the Vasiliko location. And of course, this will depend very much on the forthcoming discoveries. If there are big enough discoveries and the international market parameters also come together in a positive manner, this could also be a viable option that could open up more possibilities in terms of the markets. In the future, it is possible that we may have a combination of these options running once the industry is maturing, not only in Cyprus, but also in the region, and once we do facilitate collaboration and synergies between the projects that are developing. Well, the potential discoveries and exploitation of the Cyprus hydrocarbons resources, and also the potential role of Cyprus as a facilitator of further collaborations and synergies among the companies and countries in the region could create a dynamic and a source of alternative energy for Europe that could address and go a certain way towards supporting the diversification agenda for energy security. The discovery and the exploitation of hydrocarbon resources in Cyprus and the region, and of course the collaboration that can be facilitated among the countries in the region, is an important parameter for creating the right framework for stability that will enable the countries to exploit this very valuable resource to bring about economic prosperity and also stability. So we see this as a great incentive for all the countries in the region to come closer and overcome long-standing differences, including the Cyprus political issue.